Meet two women who started at the exact same place, Nicole and Denise. Same age, 24 years old. Same first job at the same insurance office. Same starting salary of $58,000 a year. Same city, same rent, same tired morning commute. For 20 years, they earned almost identical paychecks. Neither one had rich parents writing them checks. Neither one won a lottery or inherited a fortune. Neither one landed some secret high-paying promotion. And yet, 20 years later, their lives look nothing alike. Nicole has about $900,000 saved. Denise has around $4,000 to her name. Same income, same years, same opportunities. One woman is nearly a self-made millionaire. The other is one emergency away from real disaster. So what actually happened between these two friends? It was not income, because their incomes matched. It was not a raise, and it was not luck. It was one small habit, repeated every single payday. Most people believe wealth is about how much you earn. Earn more, they think, and the wealth takes care of itself. It sounds obvious, and honestly, it feels true. But the data tells a very different story. Plenty of high earners retire with almost nothing saved. Plenty of average earners quietly build a real fortune. Some doctors go broke, while some teachers become millionaires. The number on your paycheck is not your destiny. There is one specific behavior separating these two groups. It is not intelligence, and it is not raw willpower. It is a single, boring, endlessly repeatable habit. And once you truly see it, you cannot unsee it. This habit is the real fork in the road. It quietly decides who ends up genuinely wealthy. It decides who stays stuck, no matter the salary. Most people never learn it until it is far too late. By then, they have lost decades of compounding growth. They have lost the one thing money cannot buy back, which is time. Time is the ingredient this habit needs the most. The earlier you start it, the less you have to save. Wait too long, and no salary can fully rescue you. Think about how backwards our instincts really are here. We celebrate the raise and ignore the savings rate. We admire the big house and never ask who owns it. A fancy car often signals debt, not actual wealth. Real wealth is usually silent and completely invisible. It sits quietly in accounts you will never see. The loudest spenders are frequently the most broke. The quiet savers are frequently the most secure. This is the gap between looking rich and being rich. Nicole never looked rich for almost 15 years. Denise often looked far more successful than Nicole. Yet only one of them was actually building anything. So before you blame your income, please hear this. Here's what the data shows. Let's go back to Nicole and Denise on day one. Two identical women, standing at the very same starting line. Same desk, same paycheck, same set of choices. Let's put real numbers on their starting point. Both women brought home about $3,600 a month. Both paid around $1,400 in rent. Both had a modest car payment and a phone bill. On paper, their budgets were nearly identical twins. Every dollar in looked exactly the same for years. The only thing that ever differed was the very first move. On her very first payday, Nicole did something small. She set up one automatic transfer at her bank. 20% of every paycheck moved out instantly. It went straight into savings and low-cost investments. She never once saw that money in her checking account. She learned to live on the 80% that remained. It was genuinely uncomfortable for about 2 months. Her brain screamed that she could not afford it. Then that same brain quietly adjusted, and it felt normal. The 20% was gone before she could miss it. Psychologists call this quick adjustment hedonic adaptation. We get used to almost any spending level surprisingly fast. A smaller paycheck feels painful for only a few weeks. Then it simply becomes your new invisible baseline. This works against you when your spending rises. But Nicole made it work for her instead. She adapted downward once, and then it was done. Her lifestyle quietly locked in at 80%. Denise took the exact opposite approach to her money. She decided she would save whatever was left over. Her plan sounded responsible and completely reasonable. Pay the bills first, enjoy life a little, then save the rest. But there was almost never anything actually left to save. Life is very good at using up whatever is available. A nice dinner here, a new gadget there, a weekend trip. Every month, the leftover money mysteriously vanished. She always meant to save starting next month. Next month simply never seemed to arrive for her. Denise was not lazy, and she was not stupid at all. She was simply relying on willpower at the worst possible moment. She tried to save at the end, after spending had begun. Nicole saved at the very beginning, before spending began. That tiny difference in timing changed absolutely everything. Nicole paid her future self first, on autopilot. Denise paid everyone else first and hoped for leftovers. Same salary, same city, same 20 years of work. One woman built a system. The other built good intentions. Good intentions do not compound into anything. Automatic transfers compound into a fortune. Over 20 years, that gap became nearly $1 million. And it all started with one decision on one payday. Picture the two of them at the 10-year mark. Nicole had quietly built a real cushion by then. Denise had a nicer wardrobe and newer gadgets. From the outside, Denise looked like she was winning, but her bank account told a very different story. The difference was never visible in their daily lives. It hid inside one automatic transfer nobody could see. That invisible choice was compounding in the background. This is the exact habit that separates rich from poor. It has a name, and it is deceptively simple. Let's break down the hidden math behind this one habit. The habit is called paying yourself first. It means you save before you spend, never after. Your savings become the first bill you pay each month, not the very last thing you get around to. The rich treat their saving like rent or a mortgage. It is non-negotiable, and it comes out automatically. The struggling treat saving like an optional leftover, something nice to do only if the month cooperates. And the month, of course, almost never cooperates. This is the entire difference stated in one sentence. Wealthy people automate the decision one time. Everyone else redecides that same decision every single day. And redeciding every day is exhausting and fragile. One bad week and the whole plan quietly collapses. Now let's look at the actual research because it is stunning. An author named Tom Corley spent 5 full years on this. He carefully studied 233 millionaires. He also studied 128 people living in poverty. He wanted to know what truly separated the two groups. The answer was not income, and it was not IQ. Among the millionaires, 100% saved at least 10%. 94% of them saved 20% or more. Now compare that to the people who were struggling. Only 5% of them managed to save 10%. And 0% of them saved 20% or more. Not one single struggling person hit that 20 mark. Read those numbers again, very slowly this time. The wealthy were not saving more, simply because they were rich. The data shows they saved before the big money ever arrived. The saving habit came first, then the wealth followed it. That order is the whole secret, and we will return to it. These are not opinions or motivational slogans. These are measured numbers from real people's lives. The pattern repeats across study after study. The wealthy save first, and everyone else saves last. That single ordering explains most of the gap. Now let's talk about why saving the leftovers always fails. Your brain has a built-in glitch called present bias. It massively overvalues any reward you can grab right now. A treat today feels far more real than security in 30 years. 30-year-old you feels like a total stranger to your brain, so when money sits in checking, it feels completely spendable. Your brain quietly labels it as free to enjoy today. By the end of the month, that money is simply gone. This is not a character flaw or a moral failure. It is standard human wiring, and every single person has it. The rich did not somehow fix their brains. They just refused to fight that losing battle at all. They removed the daily decision from the equation entirely. You cannot fail a willpower test you never have to take. This brings us to the real secret weapon here. The secret is automation, and it is almost unfair how well it works. When money moves out automatically, your brain never sees it. It gets transferred out before any spending even begins. So it is never registered as money you are allowed to spend. You simply cannot miss what never touched your hands. Behavioral scientists call this powerful force behavioral inertia. It is far easier to leave a default alone than to change it. The wealthy quietly use this lazy tendency in their own favor. They set the default to save and then they relax. Their laziness now works for them instead of against them. The mechanics of this are genuinely simple to set up. You can split your direct deposit at most jobs. A slice goes to savings before it ever hits checking. You never touch it and you never even see it. Another slice can flow into a retirement account. The rest lands in checking for you to spend freely. Once it is set, you can forget it completely. No app, no reminders, no monthly willpower required. The whole system runs silently on your behalf. This is what Nicole built in a single afternoon. That one afternoon quietly shaped the next 20 years. We can actually measure how powerful this automation is. Look at company retirement plans for undeniable proof. When employees have to opt in themselves, participation stays low. When they are automatically enrolled instead, participation roughly triples. The people did not suddenly become more disciplined overnight. The default was changed, and the behavior simply followed it. With auto-enrollment plus auto-escalation, savings rates climb even higher. Workers end up saving around 12% instead of under 8%. Same people, same paychecks, one different default setting. That is the entire game hiding in a single statistic. There is often free money hiding in this system too. Many employers will match part of what you save. They might add 50 cents for every dollar you put in. That is an instant 50% return on your money. No investment on earth reliably beats that match. Yet millions of people leave that free money behind. They never set up the automatic contribution to grab it. Denise ignored her match for nearly a decade. Nicole captured every dollar of hers from day one. Over the years, that match alone was worth a fortune. Automation is what let Nicole never miss a single one. Now here is the part that almost nobody truly understands. Your savings rate matters far more than your income. Let me say that again because it is the whole point. The percentage you keep beats the raw dollars you earn. There is a famous piece of math that proves this cleanly. It shows how many years until you can stop working, and it depends almost entirely on your savings rate. Your actual salary barely shows up in the formula. Save 10% of your income and you work about 50 years. Save 20% and that drops to around 37 years. Save 50% and you could be free in roughly 17 years. Notice that your actual salary never entered that math at all. Only the percentage you keep decided your freedom date. Here is the example that should genuinely shock you. Picture someone earning $200,000 every year. They feel wealthy, and they spend exactly like it. The big house, the leased cars, the constant upgrades. They save just 10% of that enormous income. That person needs about 50 years to reach real freedom. Now, picture someone earning $60,000 a year. They quietly save half of everything they bring home. That modest earner reaches freedom in about 17 years. The lower earner retires literal decades before the higher earner. Let that comparison truly sink in for a moment. Income did not win this race, the habit won it. Nicole and Denise actually had a third friend named Priya. Priya became a lawyer and earned $200,000 a year. On paper, Priya looked like the obvious winner of the three. She had the corner office and the beautiful downtown condo, but Priya saved only about 10% of that income. The rest funded a lifestyle that grew with every bonus: a bigger condo, a luxury lease, expensive vacations abroad. Her spending sprinted to keep pace with her paycheck, so despite earning triple, Priya was not pulling ahead. Her freedom date sat 50 long years away. Nicole, on a third of the income, would beat her there. Priya earned the most and saved the least. That combination is a quiet financial trap. A high income can actually hide the problem for years. It lets you look wealthy while saving almost nothing. The paycheck covers the mistakes you never notice. Priya is the living proof that income is not the answer. This is why doctors go broke and teachers retire early. It was never about the size of the paycheck. It was always about the percentage that quietly got away. A big shovel means nothing if the hole has no bottom. Now watch what Nicole's 20% actually did over time. On $58,000, she saved around $11,000 a year. She invested it in simple, boring, low-cost index funds. She never tried to time the market or pick hot stocks. She just kept feeding that automatic transfer every single month. Her money slowly began to earn money of its own. Then that new money went and earned even more money. This process is called compounding, and it is silent for years. For a long time, it barely looks like anything at all. Nicole's balance only crawled forward in the early years. Denise even teased her for being so boring and cautious, but somewhere around year 10, the curve bent sharply upward. The growth from investing began to outpace her own deposits. Her money was now doing most of the heavy lifting. Look at how the milestones quietly stacked up for her. Her first $100,000 took almost 8 years. That stretch felt slow, and she nearly gave up on it. But the second $100,000 took only 4 more years. The third $100,000 arrived even faster than that. Each new milestone came quicker than the one before. This is the strange magic of the compounding curve. The early years feel useless, and the later years feel unfair. By year 15, the account was growing faster than she saved. By year 20, she stood near $900,000. Most of that pile was growth, not the money she added. She contributed a fraction, and the market did the rest. Denise, meanwhile, was still starting over almost every year. Every year or two, a real emergency arrived on schedule. The car broke down, or the roof suddenly leaked. A medical bill showed up with no warning at all. With no buffer saved, each one became a small crisis. She reached for a credit card to survive the month. Then she spent the next year slowly paying it off. Just as she recovered, the next emergency struck. Her savings never got a real chance to compound. You simply cannot grow a snowball you keep melting down. Every emergency reset her progress back to zero. Nicole faced the very same emergencies over the years, but her automatic buffer quietly absorbed each one. The car and the roof were annoyances, never disasters, same life events, two completely different outcomes. And this pattern holds far beyond just these two women. A Federal Reserve study found the exact same brutal divide. High-income households tend to save 15 to 20%. Lower-income households often save less than 5%. The wealthy also manage their money far more consistently. Around 80% of them regularly track and balance accounts. Among lower-income households, only about 30% do the same. The rich are not secretly better with a calculator. They just built a quiet system that runs without them. That system is the exact habit we keep circling back to. Automate the saving first, then simply go live your life. The wealth then builds quietly in the background for you. Something else changes once the automation is running. You slowly begin to see yourself as a saver. That new identity quietly reshapes your other choices. A saver hesitates before the impulse purchase. A saver negotiates the bill instead of just paying it. The habit stops being a chore and becomes who you are. Nicole did not feel deprived after those first months. She felt calm because her future was already handled. Denise felt free in the moment but anxious underneath. She knew deep down that nothing was truly handled. The automation buys you real peace of mind, not just money. And peace of mind is the return nobody talks about. Let's talk about the one ingredient we cannot replace. That ingredient is time, and it is wildly powerful. Starting the habit early is worth more than earning more. Imagine Nicole had waited just 10 years to begin. She would have needed to save far more each month. And she still would have ended up with much less. The 10 lost years cost her the most explosive growth. Those final doubling years are where the magic lives. This is why the best day to start was years ago. The second best day to start is obviously today. Every year you wait quietly raises the price of waiting. Youth is an asset that silently drains away. The habit turns that youth into lasting wealth. Let's also kill a common excuse right here and now. Many people blame their small daily purchases for being broke. The coffee, the takeout, the little everyday treats. But the real problem was never those small purchases. The real problem was the total absence of a system. You do not need to hate every coffee you buy. You need to move your savings before the coffee money is gone. Fix the system and the small stuff stops mattering so much. Now some of you are thinking about your debt right now. You might feel you cannot save until the debt is gone. That instinct is understandable, but it is often a trap. Waiting for zero debt can mean waiting forever to start. The habit itself matters more than the first dollar amount, so build a tiny automatic buffer even while paying debt. Then attack high-interest debt with real focus and speed. The point is to start the system now, not someday. A person who saves while in debt keeps the habit alive. A person who waits usually never builds the habit at all. Momentum beats perfection every single time here. Now here is the twist that changes how you see everything. We naturally assume the rich save because they have extra money. It seems obvious and it feels like plain common sense. Of course they save 20%, we quietly think. Just look at how much they have lying around. But the hard data flips that entire story upside down. In Corley's study, the millionaires saved 20% for years. They did this long before they ever became wealthy at all. The saving did not appear after the big money arrived. The saving is the exact thing that created the money. Please read that one more time, very slowly. They did not start saving because they got rich. They got rich precisely because they started saving. The habit came first, and the wealth simply followed it. This completely reverses what most people deeply believe. Most people are waiting to earn more before they save. They tell themselves they will start once things feel comfortable. But comfortable, it turns out, never quite seems to arrive. There is always a bigger house or a nicer car waiting. Spending quietly expands to swallow every single raise you get. Economists even have a name for it, called lifestyle creep. Think about your own last raise for just a second. Can you even say where that extra money went? For most people, it simply dissolved into daily life. A slightly nicer apartment, a few more subscriptions. The raise felt huge for exactly 1 month. Then it quietly became the new normal and vanished. This is why chasing income alone never solves it. You can out-earn a small salary, but not a bad habit. So the person waiting to feel ready simply never starts. Meanwhile, the person who saved while broke pulls far ahead. The habit was never a reward handed out for being wealthy. The habit was the actual engine that built the wealth. This is the single most important idea in all of personal finance. Here is the one line worth remembering forever. You do not save because you are already rich. You get rich precisely because you save. This flips the excuse most of us secretly carry. We tell ourselves saving is a luxury for later. But the wealthy treated it as the very first step. They saved when it was hard, not when it was easy. They built the muscle long before the payoff came. That is the difference the data keeps screaming at us. Nicole understood this at just 24 years old. She did not wait to feel ready or comfortable first. She built the habit early and let it quietly work. Denise is still waiting to feel ready even today. And readiness, it turns out, never sends an invitation. The perfect moment to start is a comforting myth. The only real moment you ever get is right now. So let's make this genuinely real for you, right now. You do not need a bigger salary to begin today. You need one automatic transfer that runs every payday. Start with whatever percentage does not scare you off. Even 5% today beats a perfect plan next year. A habit you actually start beats a bigger one you delay. Set it to move the very moment your paycheck lands. Then slowly raise it a little as each raise comes in. Let the boring system do all the heavy lifting for you. The goal is to never rely on willpower again. Pay your future self first, before anyone else gets a cent. That one habit is the real difference between rich and poor. Not the income, not the luck, just the quiet automation. Nicole is proof that it works on an ordinary salary. And Denise is proof of what waiting really costs you. So here is your simple action for this very week. Open your banking app and find the transfer settings. Pick a percentage, even a small and painless one. Schedule it to move automatically on your payday. Send it somewhere slightly annoying to reach quickly. That small friction protects the money from your impulses. Then do the hardest part, which is nothing at all. Let it run untouched for the next several months. Watch how fast your brain adjusts to the new normal. In a year, you will barely remember the old baseline. In a decade, you will barely believe the balance. The only question left is which story becomes yours. Will you be the Nicole or the Denise of your life? That choice gets made on your next payday, not someday. If this reframed how you think about money, stay with us. Subscribe to Maya Wealth and hit the notification bell. We break down the hidden math behind the financial decisions you face every day. Make the decision that matches your reality, not someone else's sales pitch. And remember this simple truth as you go. Wealth is not about how much money you make. It is about how much of it you quietly keep.